Hi there, this is Miss Kerr, and today we're going to go over the 8.6 Geologic time scale notes. You don't need to write these in, but these are review what we're going to be talking about today, review of vocabulary. So eras are divisions of geologic time that have different things happening in them, so specific characteristics. And then those eras are broken up into different periods or subdivisions. In previous notes, 8.4 and 8.5, you talked about absolute age and relative age of rocks and fossils. So again, absolute age is an exact number of years, and relative age is a comparison of the order of rocks and fossils and rock layers. So we're going to go on to today's notes. They're on page 8 of your packet. Here we go. All right, so at the top of the page, you're filling in the 3 bullets there. Geologists use the geologic time scale to show important life forms and events in Earth's history. And if you take a look at this time scale, different time scales, they'll either start with the most recent or they'll start with the furthest back in time. This one starts with the most recent. So we are currently in the Cenozoic era. And so the Cenozoic era, we can see from this chart, started about 66.4 million years ago, and it's obviously lasted that long because it's up to the present. This information box has a lot of good information in it. So using our stems, Cenozoic stands for recent life, and during this era, mammals dominate. All right, going further back in time, we have the Mesozoic era. So it started, looking at the chart here, 245 million years ago, and it's broken up into 3 periods, which we'll go over in just a minute. All right, it lasted about 180 million years. Using stems, and this is all in this box, you can read it. Using our stems, that stands for middle life, and it's commonly known as the age of reptiles. All right, now on to the Paleozoic era, and we can see from the geologic time scale that the Paleozoic era started about 544 million years ago. And from our information box here, we can see that the Paleozoic era lasted 300 million years. And using our stems, paleo means ancient life. All right, and then the furthest back, we have the Precambrian era, and that's actually going to take up a huge chunk of Earth's history, about 88%, and it lasted from 544 million years ago to 4.6 billion years ago. So we say that the beginning of time was about 4.6 billion years ago. All right, the next bullet says, as geologists studied the fossil record, they found major changes in the life forms at certain times. So this is just another graphic showing the geologic time scale. On the right here are the eras, and then they're showing some different fossils and rock layers. And remember, the fossil record is just a record of fossils found by scientists, and those are evidence that these different time periods occurred. So it says they used these changes to mark where one unit of geologic time ends and the next begins. All right, the next part is a flow chart down the left-hand side of your paper, and I'm just gonna quickly go through the pronunciation of these periods. You can pause the video at any point to take your time to write these things in. All right, so this geologic time scale, now we're starting the furthest back in time, the Precambrian era, or the Precambrian time. And then we move on to the Paleozoic era. The first period is the Cambrian period. And we're going to talk about some different things that happened in these different periods in the next couple notes. So for instance, this era, we say the Cambrian explosion occurred in this period. All right, moving on, then you have the Ordovician period, the Silurian period, the Devonian period, the Carboniferous period, and the Permian period. So those are all part of the Paleozoic era. Then we're going to move on to the Mesozoic era, and that's broken up into 3 periods, the Triassic, the Jurassic, and the Cretaceous. And then the most recent era is the Cenozoic era, broken up into 2 different periods at this point, the Tertiary and the Quaternary. All right, this is only part 1 of this video. Part 2 is going to show you how to fill in the right-hand side of the page, which is the geologic time scale if we were going to base it on a 24-hour clock.